Hello, friends, and welcome to Looking Up. This is a podcast for Christian women, and I'm here with my friend Carla Moore. I'm Kathy Pollard. We're your hosts. Our objective with this podcast is to consider Colossians 3, verses 1 and 2. If you've been raised with Christ, to set your mind on things above. And that's what we want to do with our conversations, is remind ourselves that we're going to keep looking up. God's in control. Everything's going to be okay. Today, we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to talk about some really fun things. But before we get into that, Carla, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. That's the best thing I've heard all day. Best thing I've heard all week, that God is in control.
That's right.
You know, you always know that, but you just have to hear it every once in a while. It just makes things
That's right.
all feel better.
Say it out loud to anyone who will listen.
He is. It's the truth. So thanks for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. And while we're thinking about it, thanks to our listeners. We know that some of you are commuting or doing household chores or walking on the treadmill or whatever you're doing, but thanks for giving us your time. Some of you are watching on YouTube. Hey. And it's going to be show and tell for you guys today. But Carla, what's new with you?
Well, not a whole lot new, which is kind of nice because I like it when things are calm. We just have been doing some yard work outside. John built a fire pit. Well, he built the fire pit a while back. Rick and Pam Randall gave us an old wheel. It's a great big, like that I don't know if it's metal, but it's the inside part of a wheel, the tire, you know.
Okay.
And so it's probably about 2 feet in diameter. And he built a pit around it with some pavers. And so we've had a few fires out there and roasted marshmallows and stuff. But he got the idea to build like a square crushed granite area around it. And he's just so good at stuff like that. He has these ideas. And then I'd probably do it half-heartedly and throw it together, but he gets the level out, and he dug, he dug a kind of a pit around it and used not railroad ties, but the landscaping timbers. And he built a square around it and a little pathway and put paving stones and a little pathway leading to it. And so we have had fun with that. And it's just, it feels good to get outside. You know, you do this all the time, but this is something I can help him with. It doesn't involve anything to do with a green thumb. I can help him spread granite and do things like that. So I'll send you some pictures, but it was a lot of fun. And so we've been mowing and pulling down dead branches and just generally being outside and trying to do some healthy stuff.
Well, good. I can't wait to come see it in person.
Yeah. I wish you would, like today.
Okay.
What's going on with you?
Sounds like our week's been very similar, a little bit quieter. And for me, this is the ideal week because I've been able to do a little gardening, a little baking, a little canning. And it just makes me feel so happy to have the time to do that. So I made some lemon marmalade.
Oh, that even looks happy.
I know, isn't it pretty? So I'd had orange marmalade before, but never a lemon marmalade. So I made this the other day. It's really, really good. And you can put it on, of course, English muffins or toast, but also in your yogurt, or you can use it as a glaze over roasted meats, you know, just all kinds of stuff. But
does it have the actual lemon fruit in it?
Yeah, the zest.
The zest, but not the actual fruit.
Well, actually, that's not true. Actually, it has everything in it but the seeds.
Oh.
So you want to use organic lemons since you'll be using everything. But you slice it really, really, really thin and then soak it overnight. And then make the jam out of it the next day. But it turned out really good. And I made some, well, you'll be here in a few days. So yeah. And I made some homemade English muffins to go with it. So nice. I got to bake a little bit. We've been bringing in spring greens and arugula and asparagus and radishes and things like that. So almost every meal, we're just going out there. It's kind of funny because I feel like it was kind of just starting together this year. We didn't really have a lot of time. It wasn't like there was ever a whole weekend where we could go out there and plant and work in the garden. And it just seemed like things were so busy as we were leading into spring. And I might have a half hour here, an hour there, and I just go out there and throw the seeds in the raised bed. I didn't even label it. And I thought, oh, I'll remember, what that is. And then a couple weeks later, I'm looking at what's coming up going, what did I plant here? I have no clue what this
It's like a surprise
is.
garden.
I know. And so the fact that it's actually coming in and we can harvest it is almost a surprise to me, because I felt like we just kind of went, here, do something. Please grow.
Well, and it is.
So it is. But now I've been able to go out and like for real plant the pole beans and the bush beans and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I feel like it's early in the season, so you still have a lot of gardening ahead of you.
I do. And I still have all my seeds. Like I have all the cucumbers and a bunch that I still need to get out there, and my sunflowers and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's been a good week just to be able to do some of those things and have that quiet time and enjoy it.
Home.
Yes.
It's just good to be home.
It is.
Well, I thought about you because we planted rosemary. We got a couple of pots. Have you ever been to a place called 10,000 Pots? Do they have the, I don't know if that's outside of Texas. It's kind of a strange name, but it's just a great big area of land, and they have everywhere just different kinds of pots, like the Mexican pottery for planting. And they have fun shaped like fish with the mouths open that you can plant things in, and different shapes and sizes. And so we found a couple of pots, and they're bright blue, to put right at the entrance of the little fire pit area, and put some rosemary in there. We have to think about not just deer, but cows, because we have cows that walk through our property all the time, and they won't eat rosemary. I know we talked about that last week, but we also planted some box hedge shrubs and some Texas sage, because they won't eat that either. But I also bought some more herbs, which may not have been a great plan because we're going to be gone again for a couple of weeks before too long, but hopefully my nephew can keep them alive. But I bought a square planter that's kind of, I don't know, about 15 inches square, and hopefully it's going to be deep enough. I bought some more. I had kept the dill alive that I bought before, and the cilantro, and then I bought some thyme and mint. Can't remember. There's a couple other just little small plants that I was going to put all together. Maybe I shouldn't. Do you know I should not put them all together? It's about 15 inches square, and there's 6 little plants.
I think most of those have this about the same watering needs. That should be okay.
They all said full sun. So as far as where I can put them, and
is that going to be for your deck?
It'll be on the deck, because maybe the deer won't be so bold as to come up on the deck, although I wouldn't be too surprised. Anyway, it was fun. It's just fun
smart to put the rosemary by the fire, because you could throw some sprigs on the fire and that'll smell good. And then you can also use the rosemary for skewers.
I never even thought about that.
If you strip the leaves off, the hard stemmy parts, and then skewer it with, cherry tomatoes or chicken or whatever, and you can grill. And
well, that's smart, except the rosemary is about 2 inches tall right now.
Right now.
That probably wouldn't be so great to use that as a skewer.
You can do one cherry tomato.
Yeah, and maybe hold it with some tongs rather than my fingers.
Right. Well,
but it was fun. Yeah. But I did a little bit of thrifting, a little different kind of thrifting this week. We have that flat bar in our kitchen, that we sit at a lot of times. It's not a raised bar, but a flat bar. And I love it because I can spread things out there and make a buffet or whatever. But I've also put my sewing machine there. But we have stools that I bought on Facebook Marketplace, I don't know, a couple of years ago. But I didn't think about the fact that they are bar height instead of counter height. So when you tried to sit on the bar stools, you had like 2 inches for your knees between the bar and the stool. So John has always complained about how uncomfortable they are. So I went looking again on Facebook Marketplace, and I found some their counter heights, counter height stools rather than bar height. And this was this past Friday, and we had what's called Founders Day here in Dripping Springs, which is a huge festival. They have a carnival, they have street vendors and all this kind of stuff. But the bad thing about it is, it used to be. Now it's become, we just don't even go downtown anymore because there's one way in and out of town and the traffic is awful. So this was Friday, and the festival was supposed to start at about 6 that night. When I contacted this person about their stools, she had 4 counter height stools, and they wanted $130 for them, which I thought was reasonable for 4 stools.
Mhm.
And so I said, okay, well, I will be there. And it was like, just right outside of downtown. I said, I'm going to try to get through town before the parade starts. And so I managed to get there without too much trouble. And when I got them home, they were Pottery Barn, which, I
Wow.
don't spend money at Pottery Barn, but I love their stuff. I just like their
Mhm.
style. I like the way they design things, and it's just very homey and comfortable looking to me. And I didn't even know, and they didn't advertise them as Pottery Barn stools. So I got looking online, and they are right now selling 2 for $698. So
Whoa.
I got 4 of them for $130. And I don't think that they knew what they had, maybe because they never listed it as a Pottery Barn stool. So they're
Nice.
much more comfortable, and so I took care of that.
That's a
Yeah.
good find.
Yeah, it was a good find.
You're so good at that.
Well, that was accidental. That wasn't anything I was good at. It was just kind of necessity. I need different stools. And also because the other ones they didn't have a back, and the kids, the babies, grandbabies were always climbing up on them and tipping over, but these have a
Oh.
back on them. So that was something else that I was looking for.
Good
So
job.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're
You'll have to come sit on
welcome.
them.
I'm gonna sit on your stool and I'm gonna sit at your new fire pit.
Okay.
And
Maybe
I'm
not
gonna
at the
smell
same
I'm gonna
time.
smell your herbs.
Okay.
Speaking of herbs, let me show you these adorable little things.
Okay.
Look at these herb markers. Do you see
Oh,
that?
that's fun.
For those of you listening, they're little black with white chalky writing on it that says oregano and parsley and rosemary. And Janelle came by yesterday. She was in town for a doctor's appointment. She came by and she had found these and she brought them for the garden, and they're made out of cedar.
Oh,
So they smell so good.
Mm.
But they're almost too cute. I told her they're almost too cute to put out there because
Yeah.
they're so pretty. I hate to think of them getting weathered or something, but I cannot wait to put these out there. There's about like 10 of them. So cute.
You could maybe decorate with them in your black cabinet behind you somehow.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It does go with that cabinet.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
Well, you just have an eye for things the way I just love that cabinet behind you, and I think it would be cute back there.
Well, let me tell you about this show that I started watching.
Okay.
It's called, I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget. Okay. Well, it's French, which I don't speak.
Okay.
But the name is La Pichoune.
Never heard of it.
And it's called Cooking in France, but it's on the Magnolia Network. And the whole idea is this couple bought Julia Child's home in Provence.
Oh, fun.
And yeah, and they kept everything in the house the way it was in all of Julia Child's cooking shows. Like you can see the big pegboard with all the whisks and pots and pans and stuff hanging all over it in the kitchen. And they host 5-day cooking schools.
Wow.
In this house.
In Julia Child's home.
Yes.
You have to talk like Julia Child if you're going to
I
have
wish
to take the class.
Yeah. And so it's 5 days, and their premise is it's called a courageous cooking school because they don't use recipes. And the whole idea is, the reason people get frustrated with cooking is because they're trying to follow this recipe, or they see a perfectly staged food, on social media, and then theirs doesn't turn out like that. So anyway, their focus is technique, and you just get in there and you just do it. But I've just started watching it, but I feel like that's one of those shows that I could just really binge watch. And well, anyway, I was telling Neil about it, and he said, is that something that you would want to do? And I was like, I would absolutely
take a class. And it's in Provence?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to do that. And so anyway, I looked it up. It's a measly $8,000 per person.
Pocket change. Pocket change.
$8,000. Now, that's for like you stay in the house. And some people get to stay in her room, her actual room.
That's just an extra $5,000 maybe.
You stay in the house, all the groceries are provided. You go to these open air French markets, and they just give you big wads of cash and say, go find whatever fruits and vegetables look beautiful to you or that you think are challenging or intimidate you. They have these little different things assignments for them in the market, and it's just beautiful. And then
That is right up your alley.
yes, and then they come back with these shopping bags, and then they take it back to Julia Child's home, and they cook this fantastic meal, and then they all eat it together in this beautiful table outside with climbing roses all around. I mean, it's stunning, just
A
stunning.
little piece of heaven on earth. Did you ever see Julie and Julia, the movie?
I think so. Yeah.
And
think I did.
at
It's
the
been a
very
while.
end, yeah, that was years ago. But at the very end, it kind of, they had, of course, recreated her kitchen for the movie, but it sort of fades from the set to the actual kitchen.
Mhm.
Or I don't guess it was her actual stuff that she used, but it's probably in a museum, maybe in one of the, well, maybe, I don't know. I'll have to look back at it, but it was her actual stuff.
Hmm.
So it sounds like what you're talking about with the
Yeah.
pegboards and the cute little, 50s or 60s looking appliances and things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and the show, when the couples first come in, sometimes they're friends, sometimes it's mother and daughter that come out and do this together. And they usually have about 6 to 8 people at a time. So it's a small, intimate little group. But they show their faces when they first walk in. And a lot of times they're older, they grew up watching Julia Child and just loved her or whatever. But they walk in and they almost come, break out in tears because they're like, oh, look, there's the pegboard, there's the, and it's, you can tell they're just so in awe of the whole experience. And anyway, so I'm never actually going to experience it, but I can watch the show.
Next best thing.
That's
do you
right.
you use recipes, right? Or do you cook by touch, feel, smell?
It all depends what it is. If it's things I've made a lot, or like pizza dough, things like that, I don't use recipes for, but
yeah,
I still use recipes for a lot of new things that I'm trying, especially.
I feel like I have lost the ability to cook in some ways because I just don't do it much anymore. And it makes
changes.
me sad.
It does. It changes. Yeah.
When you're just cooking for two.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are pinched for time and sometimes you think it's just easier to go grab something or throw something together. There's my tried and true, like tacos, which is, it's not a recipe. That's a mix, but it's John's favorite meal. So I can always make him happy with that. But I miss cooking.
I have discovered that I'm getting more into a rut with what I'm cooking. And it seems like when the boys are home, it was fun for me to come up with the menu for the week. And I was always wanting to try new things and make new things. And now that it's just Neil and me, I'm like, are you okay with fish tacos again tonight? Are you okay with homemade pizza again? I know we just had that last week, but
who could ever be opposed to homemade pizza?
I just find myself doing things that we both like that I can whip together and,
Yeah. Well, I think it's a personality thing. If you like to cook or don't like to cook, some people hate cooking, and that's just kind of a personality thing. But I always enjoyed it, and I just don't have much time for it. And it's not just the time in the kitchen, it's the mental energy of preparing and making sure you have all the ingredients. And it's just sometimes more than I have the time and energy for, but I like it.
Well, and you're good at it.
I don't know about that, but John is so easy to please. And I don't normally eat at night. That's kind of something I've done for the last year and a half or so. So I'll go buy him one of those meal simples. I think I told you about that HEB has. HEB is a grocery store, for those of you who are wondering, here. And it's the best grocery store in the world.
Neil agrees with you.
Yeah. But they have something called Meal Simple, and it's just a little tray, looks like a TV dinner kind of, but it's fresh. They prepare it in their little kitchen somewhere, and it'll usually have a piece of salmon and like 3 or 4 little potatoes and some asparagus, and it'll have a little seasoning packet that you pour over the top of the salmon, and you bake it for 20 minutes. And anyway, John, I'll buy some of those, and he'll have one of those at night, or he'll make himself a sandwich. But he's so easy to please, and that makes it, probably has contributed to my lack of cooking, because he's happy with just making a sandwich. He loves a sandwich. Yeah. He's easy.
I love a good sandwich.
Yeah. If it's fresh bread.
Good bread. Like, yes.
Good cheese, good stuff on it. Yeah.
Oh,
so we're going to be more mature this week. One of our
We were
One
kind
of
of
our
picked on a little
significant
bit.
others said
Yeah.
that we said too many immature words.
Bathroom words.
Yeah.
Yes, from now on, Carla, we are just going to be mature and talk about mature things. Wait, let me check
Yes.
my list of stuff I have to talk about.
Yeah, we might
today.
need to go back over our list here.
Well, shall we get on with it?
Well, let me tell you one thing. John would always say to the boys when they were growing up, if they ever had anything, their humor, if it might have been not off color, because obviously we would never have off color jokes, but if they ever had
Right.
any kind of bathroom word or whatever, John would say, "You are being boorish and immature." Boys. So I thought he has not listened to last week's episode yet, but he would tell me definitely, "I think you're a little boorish and immature." And the boys would be able to relate to that.
I'm going to start using that.
Boorish.
I only have Neil to use it on these days. I'm sure I can still come up with an occasion.
I'm sure we can find a way to use that in our everyday sentences.
All right. So we're doing favorite things again, part 2. That was so much fun last time. And, since we talked about doing this, it's been so fun to kind of walk around and just pay attention to life, my goings on, whether I'm in the car or getting dressed or just working in the kitchen or walking around the house. I kept my eyes open for things. What are my favorite things? What do I love? And again, like we said last time, this is one of our earlier episodes. We did our favorite things. And we are not sponsored by any of these items. We are not Amazon affiliates at all. We'll probably share pictures and links and things like that in the Facebook group just for fun, just for information. But we're just sharing these for fun because we thought we'd like them and figured others might enjoy hearing about it too. So how about you go first? Fun. It is fun. Yeah. You go first.
Okay. My first one is I'm kind of combining 2 into one.
That's kind of cheating, but
because it is a little bit cheating. But I had like 20 things and you said 10, so I'm trying to smush them into 2.
So you're gonna do 2 everyone.
Not everyone.
Carla, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
You do whatever you want.
Can you say that again? I can do
you can do whatever you want.
All the time?
All the time.
Can you tell my husband that?
Nope. He'll say that's boorish.
And immature. I think we're already being boorish and immature. Okay, my first one is it's a hammock chair and deck lights, because my deck, we had a deck before all of the house things happened at the house, and we had to end up changing out the floors and the paint and all that. But the deck that we had on the back of the house was about 25 years old. And every time you take a step on it, it would kind of shudder, which is a little embarrassing. You feel like an elephant walking down your deck. And there were rotting boards and things. So we ended up having to replace the deck, but we made it quite a bit bigger than it was before. And so it extends from the corner of our room to the edge of the driveway. And I don't know how many feet it is, but we ended up putting deck lights along the rail. Michael and Lynn Height have a deck, and they have lights out there. And I just always loved sitting out there and enjoying. Of course, they have mountains in their backyard, but we don't have that.
But you have cows.
Not the same. And I'll stop there because again, I was fixing to be immature. But anyway, so we put deck lights, and they look like little miniature Edison bulbs. So we strung them from the end of the gate that opens out onto the backyard all the way around the chair rail and all the way to the edge of the house. And then we put some from the trees and attached them to the corner of the roof of the deck. So that the deck lights are one thing, but the hammock chair, I know you've sat on it. It's not what you're thinking, what listeners are thinking, because when I think of a hammock chair, I think of the kind that you hang from a tree and it looks like a hammock. This is an actual chair that has a base, and you can unfold it. I mean, you keep it in a bag, kind of like the chairs that you carry with you to baseball games, but you pull it out and you unfold the base of it, and you have to put the little pins in it. And if you don't put the little pins in it, it's not a good thing. You can fall. But then you hang the chair from the 2 little bases, and it swings. and it's just so comfortable. And my favorite thing is just to go sit on the deck in the evening when the sun is starting to set, and I don't turn the lights on until it gets dark, but just to sit in my hammock chair, and I have to put my feet on the chair rail because you have to push off something to be able to swing back and forth. It's just so relaxing, and it's fun and comfortable, and I just love that deck chair. I found them at Costco probably 2 years ago, and they were maybe $60. And I went looking on Amazon, and they're more expensive on Amazon. They're like $90, but I've seen them since at Costco and Sam's. So you just kind of, probably this time of year would be a good time to look.
Well, I can attest to that because you and I spent hours in those chairs just talking, and it was so comfortable. And then Neil and John came back, and Neil sat in one next to me for a little while. And so guess what we did when we got home?
Did you find some?
We ordered our own.
Yeah.
So now we have some too. And we actually forget that we have them because we kept them stored down in the basement. But we pulled them out when my mom and Ray were here, and they sat on the back deck for a little while in them, and they're very comfortable. So you have to share the brand and stuff.
Okay, mine are pretty beaten up by now. In fact, when the kids were all here helping clean up and we were burning the branches that fell, we got them a little bit too close to the fire, and sparks came down and burned some of the seat.
Oh, no.
But they're still usable. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's my first one.
Okay. My first one is called The Executioner.
I know what that is. That's fun.
And it looks like a tennis racket. And I got it for houseflies. So you push this button right here and swing it at insects. And I got it for houseflies, but it's not really effective for houseflies. It's just, you just have a really hard time.
Sounds like you're saying housewives.
Houseflies.
Okay, because you don't want to swat a housewife with that.
No, seeing as I are one. But what it's good for is wasps. And we get wasps in the house all the time, especially around this time of year. And so you push this little button, and then you hit the wasp, and it electrocutes them.
Awesome.
And yes, well, and a lot of times they'll kind of stick to it. And then what you can do is you can just turn it over and just keep holding that button, and it'll start sparking on the racket.
Very satisfying.
Yes. And then smoke starts. I just hold it until the wasp starts smoking, and then I go chuck it in the trash can. So for all of you wasp lovers out there, I'm sorry. I don't mind them outside, but I don't want them in my house. And so the Executioner is very fun. It's very
I'm going to order one of those.
You kind of feel like a warrior princess when you use this thing. Do not be afeared.
So what happens if you accidentally touch it if the button's pushed?
Well, you might electrocute yourself. I've never done that.
Well, yeah, Jackson got stung by a red wasp last summer, and I wanted to get that red wasp and like smush it with my fingers because it hurt my grandson, but that would be the perfect
This would have been, look, there's a little label right here. You know what it says? Hold by handle, do not touch grill when red light is on.
So it's an electricity thing.
Yes.
Why don't you push that button and touch it, and let's just see what.
Maybe next time. That would be boorish.
We'll get a volunteer to see if they want to do that and just see how bad it hurts. How bad does that hurt? Just tell us, how bad does that hurt? I am totally going to order one of those today because I don't even like wasps outside, and they're always on the deck. So that's, I'm going to have to maybe get one for outside and inside. Do you know how expensive they are?
Well, it's been a while, and I use it. I've already had this for about 3 years. I use it all the time. I haven't had to replace any batteries or anything, but I don't remember how much it was. I'd have to look it up. Not very much. But it's amazing. Super effective. It's not like you have to keep trying to get it. Like first contact. It's great.
You do that again.
All right.
The next time you do it, take a video, get Neil to video, and I want to see what the wasp does. Hey,
we'll get
Dripping
censored.
Springs wasps, be warned, because I'm about to go on a mission to kill all of you.
All right. What are your next two?
Okay. This is my next one. It's my loopy phone case. You can see it here.
Oh,
And I've had several of these because, anytime you get a different phone, it has a different size and shape and opening for your phone
mhm.
camera. But it is a phone case, so it protects your phone. I'm going to just pop it off of my phone. It just, like any other case, it comes off and on,
Mhm.
but it has a loop. And I know if you're listening and can't see, you won't be able to see this, but you can look it up later. But it has a loop that's attached to the phone case. And these are interchangeable. So you can pull it off and put a different color on if you want. But it enables you to hold your phone with one of your fingers in the loop. Like if you're going to take a picture out the window of your car, which I would not advise if you don't want to
Mhm.
drop your phone. But if you
Mhm.
have a loop on it, then it's a little more secure. Or if you want to take a picture over a bridge, and maybe this sounds odd, but there's always places in Israel that John is saying, take a picture of that. And I have to stick it through bars somewhere. And if you
Mhm.
don't have some way to hold on to it, it's a little more dangerous, or you're going to lose your phone. But it's soft. So it's not a real hard case, but
Hmm.
I've dropped my phone lots of times with this and never broken it. So it's got the protective, not padding. I think they've rated it where you can drop it. If it drops from like 6 feet, it's protected. But you can, like I said, you can change the little loops out. So if you want to just have some different color, but
Mhm.
they have fun floral colors and fun, like this is a cow print that I have on
I
mine.
like it. I like it.
Yeah. And you can also tuck a $5 bill inside and carry it around inside your phone case. And I've tried the
Pop
what's it
socket.
called? Well, the pop socket, yeah, I've tried those before, but it's not quite the same because this you can like dangle it from your finger.
Yeah.
And the pop socket you have to hold on to between your fingers. But there's another one that has it has a pocket in the back of it that you can tuck a credit
Oh,
card or
right.
your hotel key or whatever. And I just didn't like it as much. I know that a lot of people do. It wasn't as great to me. But this slides in and out of your pocket because it flattens, the little loop flattens out when you put it in your pocket. And you can also set it on the table and it holds it up like if you're reading a book on your phone at lunch. So anyway,
That's what I was going to ask you, if it had enough structure or stiffness to it to prop up on.
yeah, not if you do it like lengthwise because it flattens out this way. But if you do it sideways, it'll kind of prop it up just a little bit.
Hmm.
Not like a pop socket will, but
Yeah.
but anyway, it's just fun. And I have had them on, I don't know, I've probably had 3 or 4 of them now, and they've all worked really well. They have pretty good resale value. So if you wanted to just, get a new one and sell your old one for $20, you can usually do that on eBay. So that's my number 2 is my loopy phone
Is
case.
that an Amazon purchase or an
They have
Apple
their own
purchase
website.
or
It's loopy.com, I think, but I'll share a link, I'm sure. But you may be able to get them on Amazon. Seems like you can get everything on Amazon these days.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay. Good one. Good one. My number 2 is Ana Luisa jewelry. So I know you like to wear silver mostly, but I like to wear gold mostly, but I don't necessarily want to go out and buy all real gold. So Ana Luisa they have silver also, but they have gold jewelry that looks very feminine and soft and classy. But you can, what I'm wearing right now, I don't know if you can see that. It's like a double piece.
Yeah.
Two chains right there.
Okay.
You can actually shower with it. And just keep it on all the time and it won't tarnish. It's like a gold plated brass materials, but they have lots of really pretty options. And they have jewelry, they have earrings, necklaces, bracelets, anklets, rings, all the really pretty things. And it's not really cheap as far as costume jewelry goes, but it's not expensive like real gold either.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I think most of their pieces start at about 50 or 55, but they also have good sales and clearance. And so sometimes you can find things for 35. But they're like, I have special events coming up.
Mhm.
And so I have a little wish list and excuse me. So sorry. So Neil can sorry.
You can
Neil
make your own
can
little wish list, huh?
yes, and Neil can go in there and see what pieces I've got my eye on and give it to me for a little birthday gift or Mother's Day gift or anniversary gift or something like that.
That's great. My
Mhm.
dad used to always say, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And I would think, with certain jewelry, like you said, it's going to tarnish if you
Mhm.
wear it and turn your skin green. And it's a lot of things. I think it's worth it to spend a little bit more. And I'm not a big spender, but spend a little bit more and it'll last longer. And
Mhm.
like I said, you can resell too. I don't know if I've never heard of that, so I don't know if it has resale value, but I think it's worth it sometimes to spend a little bit more on things. And when you get tired of it, you can resell
Mhm.
or pass it on to your daughters-in-law if they might be interested in it.
Well, and
So cool.
sometimes I just have a hard time finding things that I actually like.
Mhm.
If I'm out at a department store or a TJ Maxx or whatever, I can go to this website and I'm like, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So many different ones appeal to me and what I like and enjoy. So
Yeah.
that's why it's one of my favorites.
Well, this won't count as one of my favorites, but it's something that I'd written down. It's James Avery jewelry. It's silver. They make gold stuff too,
Uh-huh.
but that's the way I am with their stuff. I just like their stuff. James Avery, it's a Texas jewelry maker, mostly silver. But one of the things I was going to share is their cleaning cloth. And it's a tarnishing cloth, which removes the tarnish from silver, but maybe for a future episode. Did I just cheat?
You did. That's okay.
Sorry. All right. That's your number 2.
Yep.
All right. My number 3 is a projection clock. And I don't have one. I didn't think to bring the one that I have because then I would have had to reprogram it. But Michelle Massey is the first one that I saw at her house. It's a clock that it's just a very simple clock that has like 2-inch tall letters that tells you the time, but it has a little projection thing on the top that projects the time to the ceiling. So that in the middle of the night, when you wake up, you can look up and see what time it is. And it's
Interesting.
big letters. So if you don't, if you need glasses or whatever, I don't usually, sometimes I have to lay there and squint for a minute until I can tell what time it is. But I just really like that because it's the first thing you see, when you wake up and you want to know what time it is. Sometimes you don't want to know what time it is, how much longer it is before you have to get up. But it's a lot of them they're inexpensive on Amazon. A lot of them have the plug that you can plug your phone jack into and charge your phone. And so I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I really have enjoyed mine. The one that I have next to our bed tells the time. It tells the date, it's whatever today is, Wednesday, May the 4th. Happy 4th. Yeah. May the 4th be with you. It tells the temperature outside. So mine, the one next to our bed, is a little bit more detailed, but you can get them that just have the time. And I just like it. So that's
neat.
Number 3.
For some reason, I just pictured rolling over and looking up at the ceiling and like the Batman signal is on the ceiling.
Well, there's been times that I wake up and I think, what does that say? And there's a little focus thing on it. So you have to spin it to where it focuses and tells you the right time. Or if it changes direction too. So if you accidentally bump it, it'll, project way down there and you can't see it. But overall,
I wanted to say messages, like I look up and it says, go back to sleep, or you have 3 more hours, or it was just a dream.
That's a good idea. You should invent that.
Oh,
that's a future topic we should talk about, is invention ideas that we have.
That's my one.
Oh, I have some good ones. But maybe if we talked about them, then somebody might steal them from us. And
yeah, that's right. And then there goes all your money.
Okay, scratch that idea.
That was a good one.
Okay, that's my number 3.
My number 3 is a book. And it's called Welcome to the Farm by Shay Elliott. And this is how-to wisdom from the Elliott homestead. And so she covers everything in here, from gardening and growing your own food, raising backyard chickens, preserving the harvest, cows, bees, all that kind of stuff. And the photography is really, really beautiful. She's a photographer as well as a homesteader. And
I've heard you talk about her a lot.
I have talked about her a lot. She's probably my favorite homestead person. But this book I bought when we were still in Colorado and was dreaming of living in the country.
Yeah.
And I would read this thing from cover. There aren't very many books that I'll read from cover to cover multiple times, but this is one of them. I have probably for sure read every single page in this book at least 3 times.
Wow.
Just go through and start over at the beginning. And it's just really well written and interesting. Plus, I'm interested in this kind of stuff anyway. And so it's neat that once you try some of the things that she talks about, maybe pick it up a few months later and you can try something else that she talks about. So whether it's making homemade butter or, like having bees and your own honey, or, oh, look, she's got little French radishes. Yeah, if you can see that right
I saw
there.
you just pulled one out of the ground this week.
Yeah, I just grew those for the first time. They're so good. They're very mild and sweet.
You always find the best books that are not just cookbooks, but they have all the other, because one of your favorite things last time was a book similar to that, but it seemed like it was less recipes and more things around the home.
Yeah, this one, I think this has recipes in it too. She has, not really. Preserving the harvest, raising meat. If you want to know how to butcher a chicken, you can read all about that. But she also has, I have all of her cookbooks also. They're very good. They're very good. Very beautiful. All right. What's your next one?
Well, mine is also a book. My number 4 is a book. And I was thinking that this was on my honorable mention last time we did, but I don't think we ever got to it. So it's The Half-Baked Harvest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this is not her newest cookbook. I don't have the newest one. I need to see about that. I might have to ask for that for Mother's Day. This one is the recipes from my barn in the mountains. You probably have it. I think you told me you had all of hers.
I know. I'm looking back here.
It's a daily, something daily.
Oh, I think, well, I gave it to my daughter-in-law, Emily. Okay. I have Half-Baked Harvest back here and she has the other one now.
Well, so they would probably both be Half-Baked Harvest, but the one that you must have is the
well, then let me look at this.
Recipes from this one is called Recipes from My Barn in the Mountains.
Oh, we have the same one. Yeah,
that's the same one. Okay. So her name is Tegan Gerard, and she looks like she's about 20 years old, and
she does.
Skinny little thing, but she has just the most amazing recipes, and every one that I look at, I think I want to do that. But the way she takes pictures of them too, kind of like you were saying with Shay Elliott, they're just fun. But I follow her daily blog, I guess it's just an email. The way that she takes pictures of her things, they're on old, ratty, used cookie sheets that you can tell she cooks with all the time, but she just takes a picture of it, and it's just the most beautiful thing on this old cookie sheet, But I have made several of her recipes. One of them was that bacon puff pastry that we talked about either last week or the week before. But I've made her chicken wild rice orzo soup. And the thing that she seems to do the best is that she's always got some kind of a topping or a sauce or just something extra, like a lime crema. Is that how you say that? Crema? Crema. Or cilantro, this or that, but like the garlic that I think I mentioned it, but I can't remember. She says to roast the garlic, whole pot of garlic, and then take it out of whatever you're cooking, set it aside, and then brown some butter, and then you peel the garlic and smash the garlic into that butter. And she says it'll make this little crunchy bits of garlic in that brown butter, and put some sage in there. So one of the things she says is always make the sauces. Take the time to make the sauces, because it really does make a difference. But I've made homemade tortilla chips just out of corn tortillas, which are very not healthy, but they were delicious. I made a calzone, not a calzone. What's the other one that's very similar to a calzone? Stromboli. Yeah. We had that when the kids came to do the ice storm cleanup. But I mean, just you can see how pretty. I mean, you have the book, so but you can just see how pretty all of her things are. And she always talks about cooking for her brothers, and she just uses normal things. Like here's a slow cooker butter chicken, And a lot of times I'll have the things that are in the recipe. Whereas some things I look at, I'm like, gonna have to go to the store for that, for that, for that.
Mhm,
This
mhm.
has recipes that are a lot of things that you will already have in your pantry or in your refrigerator. So
Mhm.
I just enjoy. I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't cook a whole lot, but when I do, I go look through her cookbooks and see, or on her website. I probably use the website more than I use the book,
Mhm.
because you can search in there for what you have and see what she comes up with. So I enjoy
I
her
I
cookbooks.
follow her on Instagram, and it seems like every day she has the most visually appealing looking recipes. And like you say, when I think of her cooking style, I think of layers.
Mhm.
You know, she and the title of her food is always really long because
Yeah,
it's, with this and this and this and this and this. But it's
exactly.
it's those finishing touches that makes them so special. She takes
Mhm.
the time to finish it off
Yeah,
in
make the
some
sauce.
way. Make the
She had a
sauce.
recipe today that I looked at that was for salt and vinegar potatoes. And I love salt and vinegar potato chips. I don't eat them
Mhm.
very often because, salt and blood pressure and all that. But
Yeah.
if I pick a potato chips, it'll be salt and vinegar. But these, she said, cook in your instant pot in apple cider vinegar for 6 minutes.
Huh.
And then she had a tip: you drain them, you don't cook them. You're making them in the oven after you get done with the apple cider vinegar. On the cookie sheet, you take another cookie sheet and press down on them to smash
Mhm.
them, which I thought, that's a genius idea. Ordinarily, you'd be
Yeah.
smashing each one of them. And then, of course, you sprinkle salt on them. But I want to try those when I
Ooh, I
have.
want to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. She just has neat stuff and I
That sounds
enjoy.
good.
Okay. That's my
Mhm.
number 4.
All right. My number 4 is a game.
Surprise, surprise.
I know they're all the same. It's just different varieties. So this one's called Blank Slate.
Yeah.
And my sister, Christy, introduced us to this game. It's the game and it says blank minds think alike.
Is that
So
the one we played the other night at your house?
yeah, yeah. So you get a card that has one word on it and then a blank either before or after the word. And so it might be like pop blank.
Mhm.
And
Corn.
yeah, so everybody has to see, the first thing that popped in my mind was over, Pop Tart. So everybody writes down something that comes to their mind. And then you compare your answers at the end. And if your word is the same as one other person's, you get 3 points. If it's the same as 2 or more people, you only get 2 points. And if it's, the same as nobody's, you get no points. But the reason I like it is because up to 8 people can play this game at a time. And so it's great for just having people over, and it's very casual and comfortable. There's not a lot of stress to it. You just like, what's a word that comes to mind when I think of this word? Everybody plays at the same time. It's real
It's quick.
relaxed. It's quick. Yeah. So if they only have a short time to play, you can still get in a couple of rounds, and that's really fun.
How
Did
many
you like
games do you
it?
think yeah, I did. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
How many games do you think you have?
Well, when we moved here from Colorado, I donated tons. We had lots and lots and lots of games. Well, first of all, I lined them all up in my hallway, and I had a couple of our young families from church come over and take all the ones they wanted. And the ones that were left, I donated. So I'm trying to just keep, like, I have a couple of cabinets filled with games, but I'm trying to just keep the ones that we really, really like to play and that aren't just sitting there.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, you are a game lover, and
mhm.
we just didn't do that much. My parents used to play 42 with friends, and but it wasn't like a normal thing. And I wish, not that it was a bad thing that we didn't, but I love
Mhm.
that about you, and it's fun to play games with you. And it helps, I think, when you sit around the table with people, and it helps you have a conversation and you laugh, and hopefully everyone is a good sport. And sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're a little competitive, but that's fun too. Not you, not at all.
What?
You're not competitive at all.
No, not at all. I just want everybody else to win and be happy.
Yeah, not. You want to win and be happy yourself.
That's right. But I only get mad about it if it's Neil or my sister.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Everyone else, no, you're mad about it. You just don't show it.
Right,
It's
exactly.
somebody else. You're nicer to them, right?
Listen, we digress.
Yeah, we are digressing. I'm putting
All
off the
right.
next one because it's not embarrassing, but it's a little personal.
Oh, good. Share it.
Yeah. I don't even really exactly know how to say it, but it's a
Oh,
slip. So this is for women, but it's
okay.
a slip, but it's like culottes. So it's like, and the most recent one that I ordered from Amazon, it's called, they're called petty pants, which is kind of, old fashioned, I guess, but it's basically just a slip with legs.
Mhm.
And I just feel so much better in it than, if I'm wearing a dress, because once you hit a certain age, then you start thinking, what if I fell? And if I fell, so it just gives an extra layer of
Your
security.
your petty is showing.
But I wouldn't mind so much the petty showing as other things. So I'm sorry, any guys who are watching, but anyway, or listening. But then, I mean, we said at the very beginning, this is for women.
Yes, we did.
So they're basically, it's just a slip, and it also in the order has the word bloomers. And I don't really think of them as bloomers. So you can find one to order that's not bloomers. I bought my first one years ago at Kohl's, and I've looked for them ever since. They don't still have them. So I went looking on Amazon because they have everything. And I just feel better in that than I would do in an ordinary slip. And I don't know, do women wear slips anymore? I think
I know it's harder to find them, it
Yeah.
seems like. So how long is it?
you can get it any length. I mean, this one actually is you can snip it to the right length that you want. So it comes a little bit longer, and it has layers of lace that you can cut it shorter if you want it. But so you can get different lengths and different sizes and stuff.
I
But
think I
it's
might
just,
need that.
that's pretty much the only slip I wear.
Well, I told you I fell at Lehman Avenue.
No, you didn't tell me.
I didn't tell you.
No.
Well, we have this ottoman in the foyer, and I was in a dress, and some kids came over, and I squatted down to talk to them, and I leaned up against the ottoman. Well, I didn't realize the ottoman was on wheels.
Oh,
And so it rolled. And when it did, I fell over on my behind, and my legs went up in the air.
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And I was in a dress. But there was like a welcome station that's pretty high
Uh-huh.
right in front of me. So I thought, you know, my face was hot and my cheeks were red because I was all embarrassed. But I thought, I don't think anybody saw me except these kids because of this welcome station. Well, except for this one tall member that we have who apparently was walking by at that exact moment, and he started laughing. He started busting out laughing.
That's not nice.
Well, it gets worse.
Oh,
Well, then, so somebody else comes up to me a few minutes later and said, "Did you really just fall down in the MPR, which multi-purpose room?" And I said, "Oh, how did you know?" And I said, "Oh, he went, oh, he told people." And he did. He went into the auditorium and started telling people that I
rude.
very
Did
rude.
he even ask if you were okay?
No, he did not. I was mortified, and he was not a gentleman about it.
Guess not. Wow.
But one of those little culotte slips would have come in handy.
Yes, that's exactly why. Now I know why you're laughing when I said that, because I just, I fell not long ago, and I don't fall very often, but I was leaving Katie Balance's house, and I was holding a bunch of stuff, and I was wearing pants, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was holding my Yeti cup and holding a bag full of clothes and things like that, and there was a speed bump that I didn't see. And you know how when you feel yourself starting to go and
slow motion.
and you're trying to stagger step to keep yourself from falling, but I didn't. I was in the middle of the street at their apartment, and I don't even know if I told Katie about it. Katie, I fell in front of your house, but I was okay. I scraped up my knee and that banged up the Yeti, but oh well, I survived. But it starts me thinking about what if, and I'm aware of that. I don't want it to be an embarrassing thing like what happened to you.
I shall be ordering some bloomers.
I shall be asking you, you're wearing your bloomers.
Are we being boorish again?
Oh man, we just keep messing up our own what we said we wouldn't do. Okay, that's my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is this electric kettle.
Oh, that's pretty. I've never seen a pretty electric one.
I know. Neil got this for me as a surprise, and it is the best thing. It's got a little base that I keep on the counter plugged in. So you just set this right on top of it, and then there's a little switch right here. I'm talking like people can actually see me who are just listening, but there's a little switch that you just press and put your filtered water in there or whatever, press the little switch, and it comes to a boil in no time at all.
Yeah.
And so, you know, your afternoon hot tea or hot chocolate or whatever, but I even used this when I was making grape juice because I had water boiling on the stove to pour over my grapes, and I had water going in this electric kettle to fill my, you know, glass jars with and everything. And it's pretty enough to leave out on the counter, which is great because that means I'll use it more. And you know, it's just,
and it's a gooseneck too.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of electric ones you don't see the gooseneck on, and I use that with my coffee every morning.
Yep. So that's thanks. That's my number 5.
Is that on Amazon too?
Yes.
Making my list while we're talking. Okay, so that was your number 5. My number 6 is another little embarrassing thing, but they're very useful. So I thought I'd have to share. They're eyebrow scissors. Can you see those?
Oh, how
I know
cute.
that the people who are listening can't, but you can look at it later on YouTube. They're just little scissors that I think I have mentioned before that my dad's eyebrows are trying to reincarnate on my face. And he had, you know, the kind of eyebrows that look like caterpillars and they grow out and all that kind of stuff. So these little eyebrow scissors have a little comb on one side and then a little blade on the other. It's not super sharp, but that way you can kind of comb through your eyebrow and trim if you need a little trim. They work on your husband too.
Yes, I need one of those.
Yeah, a recent conversation we had, I think we both talked about needing to pull these out. But I don't know, they might be useful for other things, but eyebrow scissors, they just the little comb keeps you from getting too close to your eye or your forehead or whatever, but they're just very useful and they're very cheap.
So the blade part is on top, goes on top.
Either way, the blade part, I think this comb goes against your forehead, you know, your eyebrow, and then you kind of can pull it away so that you're not getting too close or cutting too much, because you don't want to trim too much of your eyebrows and they start growing back rough or
kind of looks like
spiky.
a dinosaur head.
Closer. Yeah. So eyebrow scissors.
Can't
say a whole lot about them, but they're very useful.
That is very, very handy.
Yeah. That's my number 6.
My number 6 is this watering can, which also has like a little gooseneck, and that's why I love it so much. It's kind of brass and it's got this big loopy handle on it. Holds just the right amount of water, and the best part about it is this long stemmed pouring spout, and that's because I use this for my houseplants. And it's really easy to get this right into the middle of the plant, right at the base of the plant, without having to move the foliage aside. So I feel like a lot of the things that I've used in the past, you kind of have to take your hand and move the foliage aside and get in there and pour it, you know, but this, you don't have to do that. It's skinny enough. You just reach right in there and pour, and then there's no spilling because it comes out from the base of the can. And so this part doesn't topple, it doesn't leak, it doesn't spill. And it's pretty. So you can just kind of hang it on your wall or put it up on your shelf. And anyway, that's my number 6. This house plant watering can.
One of the things I've noticed about John and me, you know, I'm trying to be better about watering the plants and not ignoring them, but he's also watering them too. So that can be a bad thing. We need to make an agreement that only one of us waters. Okay, my number 7 is an air tag.
An air tag.
You have air tags?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, here's the box. It's just a little air. This was a 4-pack. You can buy them individually, but I bought a pack of 4 because someone else that lives in my house is forever losing his wallet and his keys. And this, it's just a little, it looks like this, those of you who are watching on YouTube, It's very small. It's about the size of a quarter or a half dollar,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's thin. And you can buy little keychain holders that they fit in, and then you attach it to your keychain, your regular keychain. Or you can there's special wallets that you can fit a little air tag in, because it's a little thicker than a normal than a coin. It's maybe a third of an inch thick.
Okay.
So I found this person a wallet that it slides into, and then it tracks it. And I keep one in my purse, not on a keychain necessarily, but just laying in my purse, and it keeps track of where my purse is. And so if you misplace something or you're not exactly sure where it is, it plays a little noise. First of all, you can go on your phone and you can locate this, you name it. You name, like, one will say John's wallet, John's keys, Carla's purse. And I've even put them in our suitcases and just, put them in there so that I know it won't track it super long distances, but it will tell you the last place that it was tracked. So I know, like, for my suitcase, if we checked it into the Austin airport, I can look on my phone and it'll say last location known is this address, whatever. But like last Sunday, John's wallet, he wasn't exactly sure where it was. And so I just said his name, sorry. But you can go on your phone and you can track it and locate it. And it, like, within a certain number of feet, it'll tell you it's 350 feet away. Like, so if it falls down between the cushions of your couch or whatever. And like I said, you can get it to play a noise, and it just kind of makes a little beep, 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 beep noise. And it gets a little bit louder until you can locate it and find it. And it's just, they're very useful and practical. They're about $20 each. So they're not super cheap, but they're not super expensive either. And you can also move them around. You don't have to, once you put it with your keys, you can untag it and give it to someone else. And I've thought of different uses for them. I even thought, what if we were to purchase those for people on our tours, and everyone had one in their name tag, the lanyards that they wear, just in case we got separated in the market or something like that. And I don't know, we have not really explored that, because I don't think people really want to be tracked, first of all, although I think it would be useful in some situations. I noticed when I was reading up on it this morning that one man said that you can put them on your pet and track your pet, just hang it from a little chain on your pet's collar. And he said when the dogs start howling in the morning at the coyotes, you can play the little sound and it makes the dog stop howling. I don't think it hurts the dog, but it probably is a tone that just makes them be quiet. So there's all kinds of uses, and Apple makes them. And we have found them to be very useful.
I imagine as you get older, your list gets longer. Like, you need one for your remote control. You need one for your reading glasses. You need one for
It would be a little awkward to have one hanging from your glasses, though. But, it's not a bad idea. And
What about people that have older relatives that stay with them that are wanderers? I'm serious, like, when if they have dementia and they wander off, could you use it for something like that?
Like I said, there's not super long distances. So if they got in a car and drove somewhere, you wouldn't be able to track them that way, but you could tell their last tracked location. So if they, if it was a certain distance from you, you could at least start there. So this is kind of, I think, fairly new technology. So I'm sure they're going to start making newer things and smaller things. But of course it brings up the whole issue of privacy, and because it actually happened. I don't know exactly how it happened, but if it's one of John's, and if I take it, like the key to the truck, I told you we only have one key. If I take it, it will tell him that one of your air tags is moving with someone else. So there's just different little safety features built in. And I know that they're still working on it and still trying to perfect it and figure out how not to make people feel like they're personally being tracked, like you have something embedded in your skin. But it's useful for
Mind your
just
own
the
business.
purpose. Yeah.
Quit following me.
Yeah.
Quit
Quit
following my
me.
key.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well,
that's
that's
my number
neat.
7. Yeah.
That's very
It's
handy.
useful.
My number 7 is Bar Magazine,
Okay.
which is biblical, as you know, Biblical Archaeology Review.
Mhm.
And
Kathleen J. Pollard, archaeologist.
that's right. And the reason I enjoy these so much now, I will say that the editor doesn't apparently believe in the 100% accuracy of the Bible.
Yeah.
Because you can just tell by the slant of some of these articles that they make these little comments or questions every now and then that makes me think he doesn't believe in the inspiration of the Bible.
Mhm.
So I don't read it for that anyway. The reason I read them is because you can keep up with all the new discoveries in Israel. Because as you know, they're finding things
All the
all
time.
the time. You can go and then go back again a couple years later and see something completely different. It seems like. So the spring issue of this year has the digs that are going on for this year, digs 2023.
Mhm.
And you can just historic mosaics. They've always got really the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Here's a whole write up on that great big building.
Mhm.
And so anyway, that's my number 7.
7. Yeah.
Bar Magazine.
The first time I ever heard of textual criticism, it kind of blew my mind. Like, people actually criticize the Bible. That was a long time ago. Now I've since realized that a lot of people do that, but yeah,
I actually don't understand how an editor of this very magazine could even doubt the inspiration of the Bible, because to me, all of these things that they're digging up that prove characters and places mentioned in the Bible were true, historical facts, places, and events. It just keeps confirming the inspiration of the Bible. But
isn't he a fairly recent editor?
Yeah,
recently appointed?
He's a new guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a shame. But like you said, it's very interesting, and you can keep up with what's the new discoveries. Okay, that was your number 7. Okay, my number 8 is going to be a little bit hard to describe, and I didn't bring it here to the church building to show it. I'll post pictures of it. It's a little table drawer that I have, and I have one here in Drippin, and I have one in Denver, but it's just a drawer.
Okay.
That was, I guess, came from an old desk, but it's a solid wood drawer with little dovetail connections. I don't know what even to call it. Solid wood, and it has a little fun handle on it, but I just keep it set. I set it on my table, and it has my salt and pepper shakers in it. It has my little napkin. It's actually a potato masher, but I keep napkins in it. And I have a little basket in it that has my conversation starters in it. I have my butter dish. So it's just kind of a table decoration.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I found them at that Old Crow antique place in Denver for like $15. It's just an old drawer. So now I'm looking at Goodwill for old desks that are solid wood, because you could just pull the drawers out and make cool things out of them. And actually, at graduation a couple of years ago, Kathy Petrillo, I had told her about it, and she used that. She had an old desk, and she pulled the drawers out of it, and she serves cookies at the graduation reception, and she just lined them with some pretty towels and used those to serve the cookies.
What a great idea.
Yeah. So it's fun. And every time I look at it, it makes me smile, and you can take things out, and I have like right now I have a pitcher in there, a tall pitcher. So you can have short and tall. It's basically just a decoration, but it's just fun. So if you have an old desk or an old something with drawers in it, then you could pull the drawers out and use it for decor.
I love that. And you could change the hardware out too for the seasons, couldn't you?
Yeah. The decorations and liners. Yeah. It's fun.
Well, I was thinking about like the drawer pull, put a ceramic one on there, or change it out for a brass one in the fall.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know. I think the one on my table here in Drippin is a wood one that's screwed in, but I guess you could still change it out. I hadn't thought about that.
That's cute.
But it's fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm stealing that idea.
Okay. I stole it from somebody else.
My number 8 is a Danish whisk. And this is Great, because a lot of doughs that I make, I start out with a regular whisk if I'm stirring in yeast or sourdough starter or whatever it is. But the more flour you add, it gets too stiff for the whisk.
Yeah.
And then you have to change over to your wooden spoon. Well, enter the Danish whisk, and it's got a really thick, heavy, not heavy, but substantial
Solid.
handle, wood handle. And then a round wire tip to it that has a couple of swirls in it. Kind of looks like a bug face or bug eyes.
It does.
But it's substantial, and it's you can use it as your whisk when you're mixing in the first ingredients. But then as you're adding your flour and it gets heavier and denser, it's strong enough to keep using for that. So it's one tool instead of two. And I originally got it for bread making, but I found that I use it for pretty much so many things now. I mean, not just yeast breads, but quick breads, pancake batter. I just hit myself in the face with it.
You can spank kids with it.
You can spank your children with it. You can entertain your grandbabies with it.
Being immature again.
Oh, that was boorish. But that's Danish whisk. That's and these are very inexpensive. You can find them at Amazon.
You had recommended that earlier, and I bought one. And one of the things I like about it is that you can use that strong outer edge to scrape with it too.
Yeah,
so when you add the flour,
down the sides of the bowl.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is very, very useful. I like that. I've bought one and use it.
I keep mine in a ceramic pitcher on the counter with my rolling pins.
Yeah, I love your kitchen.
Thanks.
Okay, that was your number 8. So my number 9 is a set of sheets. And again, I couldn't bring those because they're on my bed right now, but it's from a set from Target, from the Casa Luna line. And they are not super cheap, but I found this set brand new, of course, at Goodwill. One of the Goodwills there in Denver has a lot of Target overstock. Yeah, well, I just wouldn't have bought them because they're like $110. And I just can't spend that much on sheets, but it's like $12.99. So, and they were brand new in the package. I don't know how. It was overstock, I think, from Target that went to this Goodwill. And but the brand, it's Casa Luna, and all of their stuff I like it. They have a lot of linen in this line, but it's a Supima percale. Am I saying that right?
I don't know that one. I can see the word, but I've never said the word.
I like really nice sheets. I just think that you spend a lot of time in bed and have some nice sheets. In the wintertime in Denver, we use flannel, but in the summertime, these are just super soft. I don't know the thread count, and I don't even know if it said the thread count because they're that percale, but they, like I said, Casa Luna sheets, they have linen sheets, they have hemp sheets, they have a sort of a washed percale, but this line that I have is the Supima cotton percale sheets, and they're cool. So when you get in, if you use them in the winter, you're going to be cold because they're very cooling against your skin. But in the summertime, they're perfect because when you get in, they're cool, and they're just so soft. And I love soft sheets, and I don't like scratchy sheets. So, and it just makes a difference to me to have good sheets. So it's
especially on the pillow up against your face.
Yeah.
What is percale anyway?
It's a kind of cotton, or a certain way that they process the cotton. I don't know. I have to look that up.
I was just wondering, is it some kind of blend or?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and
okay,
let you know later. I know you'll be holding your breath until I let you know later. But it's just there to me, a quality brand, and I like them.
Casa Luna.
That's my number 9.
Okay. My number 9 is a nail polish, and it's by Kur, Kur. And but this particular one is called Illuminating Nail Concealer. And what it does is it brightens your nail beds. So you can wear just one coat on your nails, and it just makes your nails look healthy, really healthy and bright. Or you can go back and do 2 or 3 coats to get more of this color right here. And they have this shade, and then they have like a soft, maybe almost iridescent shell pink kind of shade. But Kerr Illuminating Nail Concealer. But I heard about this from, what was her name? There's a YouTuber, The Daily Connoisseur. Have you ever heard of her?
Uh-uh.
It's like manners and genteel living kind of a thing that she does. She's a young woman that does this blogging, YouTubing thing. But anyway, I first heard about this from her and ended up ordering it. And I found it cheaper than wherever she recommended getting it because I found it on Amazon, but I absolutely love it. It's great.
So is it a color, or do you
It's
put
really,
it under your color?
no, you wear it by itself.
Okay.
It's lightly colored. It's kind of a sheer color, but like I say, you can wear multiple coats to get more of, like, if you want it to look like this bright pearly white, you can. I usually just do one coat, and it just makes your nails look healthy and clean. And if your nails are getting kind of dull or yellow, or they just don't look as healthy as they used to, or whatever, this just really brightens your nail bed. Is what it does.
Looking at my nails right now that are always neglected. I just never have done my fingernails. I know we've talked about that before, but I like the idea of just a subtle kind of color.
Yeah, and that's why I like it, because it lasts a while, and then if it does start to chip, you can't really tell because it's this kind of opaque thing. Whereas this color that I have on right now, like I woke up this morning with that chip nail, and because it's this hot pink color, you can really tell. So that's going to drive me crazy, and I'm going to have to take this off.
Maybe you should use just that subtle color on your fingernails. Oh, okay. Well, my number 10 is something a little bit silly, but I like them. They are noodles, grandma's noodles, frozen noodles. Have you ever tried those?
I don't think so.
Well, they are just frozen egg noodles. And apparently they make spaghetti too, but I've never seen that in the store. And here's the thing, I can only get those in Denver at King Soopers, the grandma's noodles. And I don't know if maybe they might have them at Walmart. I don't typically shop at Walmart here, but they don't have them at HEB. They have a different brand at HEB called Reams, Reames. And, but grandma's, I just like grandma's better. They're thicker, wider, maybe not thicker as far as, biting down on them, but it just makes your, like if you make a homemade chicken noodle soup, it just makes it so much better because it's like fresh pasta, but you don't have to make it. Or you can you can make chicken and noodles just like a casserole, or anything that you would use egg noodles in. Use the grandma's frozen noodles. They have a good texture.
Beef stroganoff.
Yeah, that would be really good. I didn't think about that. Just anything like that, but grandma's noodles, look for them at the grocery store. My
stomach's about to growl.
Mine is growling. It's 1:12 and I haven't eaten lunch.
We've talked all the way through lunch. Yeah. That sounds good. I'll be looking for those. See if we have them here.
Yeah.
All right. My next one is a deodorant.
We're pulling out all the stops.
Well, because I've gotten away from deodorants with aluminum and that kind of stuff in it, but it's kind of hard to go through that process because it's like your body needs to detox. And while you're going through that, you have to stink for a while as your body's adjusting. And I've tried different brands. Some are cheap, some are more expensive. Well, I found one that kind of falls right in the middle, and it's by Revive. And Revive is the company that I buy my essential oils from. They're therapeutic grade essential oils. And this is brand new. They've just now started offering deodorant. And so I wanted to give it a try. And if you order the 3-pack, it's a little bit cheaper. You get a discount, but they've got, this scent is called Fantastic. I don't really know. I haven't used this one yet. I don't really know what that is.
It must be fantastic.
And this one's lavender and vanilla. That's the one I'm using right now. And then here's cucumber and mint. So, men could use something like that. But I was a little bit hesitant to try it. But so far I am very, very pleased. And it seems to be very effective. It smells really good. At first I wasn't sure because when you first start using it, that little crease with a brand new deodorant around the edge. When I first used it, it kind of crumbled off.
Oh.
And I thought,
powdery.
yeah, I thought, is this going to be a dry, crumbly deodorant? You know, they're going to have to tweak that. But it was just that initial rim. Ever since then, it's been nice and smooth and goes on easy. But I love the way it smells and it actually does the job. So
I
it's
was
an
going to
all
say, are you
natural,
sure it works?
it worked well.
Would you have somebody that would tell you?
Usually I can tell myself. If it
Sometimes
works
I
or not.
wonder about things like, how do you know if you have bad breath? I mean, if somebody's like doing this when you're talking to them.
You lick the palm of your hand and smell it. That's how
Oh,
you know if you have bad breath.
I have never known that.
That was a free tip, ladies. But this is natural deodorant, no synthetic fragrance, and aluminum free. So it has all natural essential oils in it. And there you go. That's my number 10.
Very practical.
Mhm.
Well, fun.
Yeah. And are you done? Or do you have another one? I actually have an extra one.
That was my number 10. I mean, I've got
Do you want to do an extra
wait.
one? Because I have an extra
No,
one.
no. Number 10 was my grandma's.
Noodles.
Well, I have several. Okay, I did bring this one. They're Prismacolors. These are the colors the colored pencils that I use for scripture writing.
That's right. Yeah.
And I just prefer these. I know I still haven't tried the twistables yet because I have these, but they're fun colors that they have different you can get different tints. Like one of them that I have is ocean colors. And they'll have like this fun kind of aqua and
that's pretty,
just different oceany kind of colors, but you can get different. This one is just regular color pencils, but what I like about them is it's a weird word to use when it comes to colors, but they're almost creamy. But when they're smooth, when you're coloring with them, I don't know what it is about just the Crayola colored pencils, but it doesn't feel the same.
I gotcha.
But these have it says that they have a soft core. I guess that has something to do with why they color the way they do. But I really do. I keep going back to those for scripture writing, to color in my scripture writing. So that would be my bonus one, is my Prismacolors.
I think I understand what you mean by the creamy, because I think about that when it comes to eyeliner. You know, you want one that goes on, it saturates the color, but it's real smooth and creamy, and not one that's sharp and crumbly or edgy or
gloppy.
Gloppy.
New word.
Good. Okay. All right. My last one is this backpack.
Oh, I like that.
I love this backpack. It's canvas material and it's that kind of almost army green color or whatever, but we got this, I can't remember if it was we got this for our first or second trip to Israel. I can't remember.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I just absolutely love it because it's not real heavy. And so you don't feel like you get hot and sweaty. You know how some backpacks just make you like it after it's been sitting on your back for a while.
You feel the trickle.
Yes, and so it's kind of light like that, and it has all kinds of pockets and zippers all over this thing. So side pockets, front pockets, even in the back, we've got a little zipper section right here. And then all the straps are leather with these little brass buckles, and all the little tags on the zippers are leather, which I just love those leather touches there.
Are they actual buckles, or does it have a hidden snap instead?
It does have a snap, but it's also a buckle.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's just the snap that would actually be holding it.
So the buckle's more decorative. I prefer a snap anyway myself.
Yeah, I think you're right. But you can use that to adjust it. Because you can tighten it. You can tighten these buckles down to make your flap at the top stick closer to your, and then it's got this kind of drawstring thing around the top to where you can tighten it to close it off. It's got zippers on the inside. I've got my travel pillow in here right now. Help it hold its shape. But and then it's got tons of room. It's got a divider on the inside, so a place for your laptop if you're carrying one of those. And then more pockets and zippers down inside there. So this is the best. And it's got it's by Augur, 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 Strauss and Company.
Okay.
But Neil got one. I think his is a little more khaki colored. and then there's this kind of army green, and then there's like almost a chocolate brown, it's those kinds of earthy colors to it. But
if you find a backpack that you really like and really
Mhm.
stick with, that's the mark of a good backpack, because I find
Yes.
myself bouncing back and forth, and there's
Mhm.
I like this about this backpack and I like that. So that's a tried and true if you've had it that long and you still
Mhm.
go to it.
Yes.
Well, is that the one that I remember you bringing an entire ginormous Coffee Mate tub in? And you brought a French press coffee maker because we couldn't find a coffee maker there.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And
It's got plenty of room, but it collapses real small. So even if you wanted to roll it up and put it in your suitcase and then use it when you get over there, instead of traveling with it throughout the airport, you can do that.
I was so impressed that y'all came for that 2 weeks or whatever it was, just with carry-ons. And you brought that huge Coffee Mate and the French press with you.
Well, we've had some practice.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I was never so grateful as to see that coffee maker coming too.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be traveling with just carry-ons in October. That's
No,
quite a long trip.
there's no reason to anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we finished with our favorite things, and you had the idea of, instead of sharing a random question at the end of this episode, share another I see good people looking for the good. And so I thought that was a great idea. And do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this one is, I'm going to read something because it was something that impressed me. There's been a family here, Randy and Jamie Banks. Randy has had back issues for as long as I've known him. Just seems like he's always having neck and back issues. And anyway, he had some back surgery about a week or so ago. And Jamie is a teacher. She teaches at one of the local schools here. And it's May, right now is May the 4th. And at the end of April, beginning of May, that's start of the end of school stuff, parent teacher conferences and presentations and programs and all these kinds of things. And so I know from a conversation that we had, and I'm not betraying anything she said, but she has felt pretty bad because she hasn't been able to do all of the things for Randy that she would want to be able to do. And she's had to rely on some other people, which I think is what our family is all about. That's what our Christian family is all about.
Right.
And to use a phrase that I first heard from you when you would say, "Don't steal my blessing," that it's so true, because when you feel bad that you can't do something for someone, you're opening the door for other people to be able to serve you and minister you, or whoever needs help. So she posted this on Facebook this week. She said, "Thank you to all who have helped our family this week through texts, calls, meals, cards, and/or prayers. Randy got home from surgery on Wednesday and seems to be slowly healing. Yesterday, he was much more mobile. He sees the doctor on Wednesday." She said, "I had a crazy work week and I had a lot of help from Jacob Rutledge, our dear friend and preacher." And she goes on and names several people: Tommy and Alicia Thomason, like Randy's more like a brother buddy, Stephen Estrada. And by the way, yesterday, Mom and I went to Cracker Barrel and we happened to run into Randy and Stephen Estrada, and Stephen had just taken Randy for a follow-up doctor visit. So this is kind of what reminded me of this. She said, "Randy also received food and visits from Sarah Pogue, Suzanne Hallam, Bill and Tammy Hyde, Jamie Harris, Ronnie Thomason, his amazing work family. Jessica Estrada is coming by to cut his hair later." She said, "I apologize if someone came by and I'm unaware. Randy was pretty drugged. I told him some of what he was doing and saying, and he thinks I'm exaggerating." She said, "My kids really helped this week. Sarah offered to come home from school if needed. Brett ran multiple errands. Elizabeth helped whenever she was asked without complaint. And our family members would have been here in a moment's notice if we needed a thing. What a blessing to be surrounded by people such as these." So I just thought, Jamie and Randy are some of the best people you'll know. They will drop anything and do it for you if you need it. Randy is the cook at Hensel Camp. He's the head cook. And that's a huge job. And I know he's a little worried about being on his feet for that in about a month. But Jamie, she'll scratch your back if you stand next to her. She's just always moving and her hands are moving. And if you stand next to her, and sometimes if you just go stand next to her, she just starts scratching your back. And I think I'm going to fall over flat on my face and fall asleep. But it's just a blessing to be able to do things for people. And this is something I texted her last week and I said, "I want to bring you dinner tonight." And she said, no, that's okay. And so I didn't, because I thought, well, maybe she's already got somebody bringing something. And I was talking to Tammy Hyde later, and she said, you should just do it anyway. And this was after the fact, and I didn't. But I thought, there's one of those situations where I should have just done it anyway. And if she had dinner, she could have put it in her fridge for later. But anyway, I see good people in Randy and Jamie themselves, but I see good people that were ministering to Jamie and Randy this week while they needed help.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful example. And just thinking about all the many hands that contributed, they probably thought their contribution was small, but put it all together and it just carried them through.
Yeah.
You know, everybody joining hands to help. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
The don't steal my blessing thing I stole from my sister.
Okay.
She's the first person I heard
Well,
say
I've
that,
stolen it from you, and she probably heard it somewhere else too. So
probably, yeah. But just in case she listens, I wanted to acknowledge that.
Okay, Christy, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Christy. So mine is really not so much a specific thing as an idea. Remember last week how I shared that we had guys over here chopping wood. We had a lady deliver a meal for no reason, just thoughtfulness. You know, Janelle came by and brought these little plant stakes, and then today, this afternoon, Jeremy Waddell's coming by. He's going to do some measurements for us, and he's helping us order the lumber for our barn. And then he's going to help us build the barn. And by help us, I mean, he's probably going to build the barn. Neil and perhaps our boys will be like grunt work, you know, but I got to thinking about that. And what was so impactful about those things is they came to me. And that just, I feel like, and when I say we, it's probably just me, but I feel like I don't do that very much anymore. And I don't go to somebody's house to deliver something or drop something off. I send them something via Amazon. I want to do,
by the way,
I want to do thoughtful things, but I send it to them. I send it by way of Neil, who will see them at the office, or I'll wait until I see them at church and then hand it to them. You know, but I feel like I've had all these examples recently of people that came to me, went out of their way. Oh, Kelly Nix brought fresh flowers this week. She didn't even come in. She just porch dropped them. She rang the doorbell and left.
And you live out of town.
Yes, I live 15 minutes out in the country. And when I went out there was this huge bouquet of cut flowers, and she brought it to me. She could have just as easily brought that to the church building. And so I've just started thinking about that. And I thought that was the gift. That was part of the gift, is going to somebody, going to that person instead of, you know, meeting up, or, you know, somebody just shows up and they've got a smile and a sweet gesture. And I don't know, when most of the people that come to your door, you know, unless you've invited them, are delivery guys, you know, which is great. I'm not saying that, but it's a friend who just stopped by. You know, I just find that extremely refreshing and heart touching. And I know some people don't like drop-ins and even consider that thoughtless. And I will say that, you know, in all of these instances, with the exception of Kelly, they let us know ahead of time we're coming by. And then Kelly didn't even come in. She just dropped it, rang the doorbell, and drove off, you know, but.
Well, I think even if you did do a drop-by visit, you could say, I'm not coming in. Maybe we can sit on the porch for a minute, or just stand at the door, because I think for a lot of people, it's just thinking about the mess that we have inside or whatever's going on. So, yeah, I agree. But that's there's so many thoughtful people. There's so many good people in the world.
There really
It's been a hard news week, you know, things going on, but there are far more good people in this world than there are bad. And
especially when you're looking for them.
Yeah. So highlight the good, and we're not going to stick our heads in the sand and ignore the bad things that are going on, but just look for the good, because you find what you're looking for. And I think it's a good thing.
Well, you know, highlighting the good isn't going to make the bad things go away, but it'll definitely give you something brighter to focus on.
Exactly.
And for other people to be reminded that God's in his heaven and all's right with the world.
Mhm. Just like you said at the beginning of the episode, that God is in control.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention something. I meant to bring it up at the very beginning, but this episode will air Monday, but that will be in the middle of Focal Point that's going on at the
Mhm.
University Congregation in San Marcos, Texas. So it's what was begun as a preacher's workshop, but it's open for everyone. And there's something that will be good for everyone. So if you're listening to this Monday and you are anywhere near, I hope that you can run down and visit. I know that some of them will be, I believe, live streamed. If not live streamed, they'll be recorded. But there's going to be just some great lessons and some great fellowship. And y'all, this is one of the things I thought about Equipped. Y'all did such a good job of helping your members to see the value of just even taking off work and spending that Friday of Equipped at Equipped and equipping yourself for service and for being in God's kingdom. And sometimes I just, it's discouraging to me that these opportunities are available.
Yeah.
And people don't take advantage of them. And I don't know how to get across to people how valuable it is to just go and be among Christians. And I think a lot of times people think they can't take off work, but it's going on all day long. It starts at 8 something in the morning and runs until 8 or 9 at night. And so if someone came on their lunch hour or dinner break, it's just such an uplifting and an encouraging time to be with people who are like-minded and to grow in your spiritual knowledge. So I just want to encourage everyone to come to Focal Point and spend some time there.
Yeah, we always enjoy it when we get a chance to go. That when Neil and I have talked about that before, there's something special about Focal Point. There's a really unique flavor to it. And I don't really know we've tried to talk about that before, what makes it unique and special, but there's just something about when you're there. It's a good crowd, but it still feels intimate, and close, and like everybody's putting their energy and passion into it. And it's a good experience. I mean, aside from all the great lessons that you're going to hear and the good fellowship, it just feels good to be there. And when you leave, you get to take away all that encouragement that you've received and take away that good feeling back home with you. And for Equipped, we had some families I know that, like one in particular, had doubled up on his work Monday through Thursday so that he could take all of the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off for Equipped. And just hearing about that is encouraging. But, seeing that family make that a priority and go to something like that. And I imagine if you could talk to them on the other side of that, they didn't regret that decision.
Yeah. No doubt. And I get frustrated with myself because I get frustrated when people don't take advantage of it, but that's not going to help encourage people to come. So I try to, rearrange my thinking and just try to encourage people, because you will benefit by spending the time in the Word.
Are you speaking?
I am.
What's
just on scripture writing? Wayne actually titled it. He called it Powerful and Practical Scripture Writing. So one of the sessions will just be on, the same thing that I've talked about on here before, how it started and how it works. But the second one's going to be more of a hands-on kind of thing. So
that'll be good.
Yeah. But there's lots of great lessons. So I want to encourage everyone to come.
All right. And it goes how long, through what day?
Well, it starts on Saturday. So it'll be too late, by this time this episode airs, but you can tell people with a youth day on Saturday, and John speaks Saturday night, and I believe Brennan Hooper also speaks Saturday night, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of Thursday.
Okay, so even if you're not hearing this, well, you won't hear this till Monday, you've still got a couple of days to go down and enjoy it.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Nice. Well, I'll be praying about that. I know it'll be and you'll do great.
Thank you.
All right, anything else before we sign off here?
No, I think we've probably broken another record.
Probably so, but it's been really fun, and we had 11 favorite things. So, well, you actually had more because you cheated.
Well, I mean, it was that one was the deck. It just happened to be 2 things on my deck.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening in. And Carla, until next time,
Keep looking up.
keep looking up. Check us out on the Facebook group page. Why do I always say it that way? Facebook group, and let us know what your favorite things are. And until next time, keep looking up, keep leaning on God, and showing everybody